I manifested moving across the country. I ended up quitting my corporate job shortly after, which clarified my soul mission in business and manifested my life partner within a few short months. And what I'm about to show you guys is the exact process that my body started to do. And now I teach other people to actually awaken and train yourself to work with this Kundalini life force. And I achieved all of this and because of the woman that I became through the process. 6 months prior to all this happening with a diagnosis, I was completely shocked, but I knew at a deeper level this made sense for me at that time because I was hiding. I was hiding in the shadows of not creating, of not putting myself out there in my business of how I wanted to give back to the world and my mission, and I was living in constant shame in the inside because I wasn't living up to my full potential or sharing myself or creating in the world the way that I wanted to in my life. How to 10x your impact and income magnetism with using your Kundalini life force energy. So you might have heard of chakras, your life force energy, tantra, Kundalini yoga even. It has many names, but when we can tap into our everyday emotions, this is our life force. The word emotions, literally, energy, E, and motion. So as we go through this training, the more you practice feeling your emotions, feeling the sensations in your body, the easier it will be for you to tap into your Kundalini life force energy, and the easier it will be to alchemize your own emotions. And what this practice does is when we can build enough trust in our bodies and mostly letting our minds trust the body will lead the way. The body will upgrade. The body will quantum leap. The body will heal. We, the minds, the ego, just need to get out of the way. We don't need to overcomplicate this. It's really about how we feel and the sensations, and whatever comes up, whatever arises, to just let it flow. And this is why I love working somatically. We get to build this connection with our bodies and our emotions, the breath, the movement. And in our own way, we enter this trance-like state. So the trance-like state, indigenous cultures throughout antiquity would enter these prayer circles in trance. The priestesses would enter into their trance state channel. And that's what we can do today through meditation, through movement, through somatic practice. We get to shift our brainwave state in order our capacity to receive a higher vibrational energy can come through. And why this is important is because it's the door to the subconscious, this trance-like state, when we can shift our brain waves. And it's the door to the mystical. And why does this matter in 10xing your impact and income magnetism? Because we don't see the world how it is. We see the world how we are. In other words, our own vibration is the glasses, or the rose-colored glasses, that we see the world with. So when we work with our body and our energy in this way of alchemizing, not only does it shift the energy, transmute it, just like Einstein says, energy cannot be created or destroyed. We can shift the state. And by shifting it, let's say, from fear into abundance, into clarity, we are amplifying our electromagnetical field. So if you think about it this way, when you are feeling a lower vibe emotion, it's really radical. If you think about it as like a graph, these spikes and ups and downs. But when you're feeling a higher vibration like love, acceptance, excitement, it's going to be more coherent of a wave. So all we're really learning to do is the same energy, but we're actually learning to harness and be the sovereign leaders of our own body and our own energy system, to harness it, to shift it, into what we want it to be, what we want to be. And over the past few years, I used this process that we're about to do as my Kundalini energy started to awaken. I started deep diving into practices like breath work and somatic healing. And I started to release a lot of the stored trauma. My body would start to shake. Weird noises would come out of my mouth. I'd be, flopping on the floor like a fish. Just the body took the lead, and all that stored energy was now being released, but also that transmuting and a realigning of the DNA structure, the energy within my body. So through those years of first being really surprised that these things were happening to me, I learned to actually systematically work with this energy so I can now teach other people how to activate this in themselves. And as this energy starts to take over, what to actually do and not be scared and know that it is safe and know that it is something that can help quantum leap you in your life and your mission. So I got to this point in my life. I manifested moving across the country over 2 years ago now. I ended up quitting my corporate job shortly after, which clarified my soul mission and business and manifested my life partner within a few short months. And what I'm about to show you guys is the exact process that my body started to do. And now I teach other people to actually awaken and train yourself to work with this Kundalini life force. And I achieved all of this and because of the woman that I became through the process. I was diagnosed 6 months prior to all this happening with a pre-cancer diagnosis in my uterus. So that's your sacral center, your second energy center, your chakra. And I was completely shocked, but I knew at a deeper level this made sense for me at that time because I was hiding. I was hiding in the shadows of not creating, of not putting myself out there in my business of how I wanted to give back to the world and my mission. And I was living in constant shame in the inside because I wasn't living up to my full potential or sharing myself or creating in the world the way that I wanted to in my life. So at that point in my journey, I even knew, even though I was scared to death, that that was happening for me, that that was a sign from God. It was my body leading the way. It was not in the way. And it was leading me to my higher self, to everything I wanted, just like I mentioned. And this was my initiation. This was that quantum leap moment where I knew it was my opportunity to master myself. And that's why I dove into the somatics, the breath work, the meditation, because I knew I needed to master becoming a leader in my life. And I prayed to God every single day, whatever needs to leave my life, let it. I'm willing to die and let go and be reborn anew, to be of service and to be happy. And that's how all of this perfectly unfolded and came to me by learning to master my own energy, to work with this Kundalini life force. And before we jump in to this actual process, to the training, I want to take a moment to let you know that it does not need to be done perfect. You don't need to jump in and get in your head about, am I doing this right? What did she say? What if this is not working? It does work. It's guidance to get you to feel, it's guidance to get you familiar with working with yourself, with working with your own energy. So when we start this practice, and I'll explain it in a moment, focus on the energy of your chakras. Think about your spine of this energetic tube. moving up and down. So just bringing your focus up and down throughout the practice, and you'll be guided to where to put it. And when the moments we pause for the body to lead or move, because we'll be activating it, and we'll be pausing in between sections, allow whatever sensations, whatever thoughts, whatever noises, visions to come. And maybe something will happen during the practice, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll happen tonight or tomorrow. But the most important thing is whatever happens, the more we can allow, the easier the energy will flow. The energy will move in the way of least resistance. Sometimes it might even be digestively. Sometimes you might even be coughing up, spit or whatever. But the more we resist this, the more it will persist. So whatever sensations come up, know that it's happening for you. Know that it's happening for a reason. And that this is your initiation to quantum leap your energy. And we're literally up-leveling our energy, but our DNA, our capacity to receive. Because when we are a clear channel, we can emit our own magnetism, our own message, our own mission at a higher signal for more people to receive and to listen and to come work with you. So there are three main parts of the practice that we're going to do. Some of them you might be familiar with already, and some of them might be a little new. But again, this is about how this feels in your body, not having to do it right. So the first part, we're going to be focused on shaking. So you can start shaking your whole body or start with a certain part if there's an energy in your body that you want to specifically work with. And this is like very, very prevalent in somatics, the shake, how powerful this can be. The second is our cat-cow movement. So if you've done yoga before, cat-cow movements are an inflection of the spine. So we'll be standing up, and cat-cow usually is on the ground in tabletop position, but by standing up, you can place your hands on your sides or your knees and still do the cat-cow movements. So when you inhale, you come into a cow with your chest puffed up and your head to the sky. And when you exhale, we come into cat. So we bring our gaze down towards our belly button and curl that spine. And this movement is a pumping-like action. So what we're doing here is we first shake the energy up, and then we are bringing our awareness up and down the spine. So when we inhale up, we're bringing that awareness up our spine to the crown of our head. And when we exhale, bring that energy awareness down our spine. And like I said, this is more about the movement than doing it perfect. This is teaching you how to work with your own energy as a foundational standpoint. And then the third part in this, we're going to be spiraling. So think about a big vortex, think about a tornado, and we're going to start from the bottom of our spine in a clockwise motion and moving our awareness up our body all the way to the crown of our head. And then we'll pause and we'll go down, going in a counterclockwise motion. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, but we're allowing our body, we're training our body, we're priming our body to do what it already knows to do. And these three main parts, time and time again, in my own Kundalini awakening journey, women I've worked with, women around the world, and people for that matter, these are the three main components I've always seen when people's energy starts to activate and their body takes the lead. And you will learn through these foundational practices how that feels in your body. And that is what is so important in the work that I do, and how you can 10x your impact and income magnetism through this is learning to lead with your own body. And therefore, this is going to ripple out to lead with your own mission, with your own messaging, with your own business and your own clients. So I cannot wait to hear you guys what you think of this practice. I will have a little follow-up after the practice with some good reflections at the end. And at the end of this practice, I also have a short little meditation so you can lay down and relax and allow your body to move or do what it needs to do. A lot of downloads are probably going to come through this time as well. I can't wait to hear how it goes for you guys. I'll see you later.